G'day ladies and gentlemen, today we're here to answer the hard question. What is Fujifilm's most beloved mid-range zoom? The new 16-80mm f4 or the red badge 16-55mm F2.8? That's what we're going to find out today. What is the best bang for buck? What is the best mid-range zoom that Fujifilm is offering right now? Let's get right into it and roll that intro. G'day ladies and gentlemen, and thank you for joining me today. Hopefully today we're going to answer one of Fujifilm's toughest questions they have thrown to us to date. What is the best Fujifilm mid-range zoom lens? Now I've used everything from the 18-55 2.8 to f4, an extremely good budget lens for the travel photographer and videographer out there. Great price point. Moving on to the most versatile lens that I called on the Fujifilm market, the red badge XF 16-55 2.8. But that was before the 16-80mm f4 was released. Now let me tell you, I've owned this for a little while now and this is an absolute bloody demon. That's what I want to compare today. The specs of these lenses, the sharpness and quality out of photography and videography, comparing them directly, the bokeh, then give you my overall conclusion, who I think these lenses are aimed towards and what I personally believe. So make sure to stick around for that. But in the description below, I'm going to link all the other vlogs doing separate reviews about these lenses and also the direct comparison between the 18-55 and 16-55 lens. You'll be pleasantly surprised what I said in that review. But let's get right into now what specs and what to expect when purchasing these two lenses. Okay, so first of all, I want to directly compare these two lenses, starting off with the overall size. The 16-55mm is 83.3mm by 106mm, but when fully extended out to 55mm, it's 129.5mm. Over to the 16-80 is 78.3mm by 88.9mm. This is very similar to the 10-24mm. If you own that, then fully extended out to 80mm, it's 131.5mm. The 16-55 overall weight is 655 grams. Now, although this does feel good on the XH1, I have to admit, on the XT3, it is quite front heavy because of that weight. Going over to the 16-80mm, it's 440 grams. Now, this feels absolutely fantastic with the XT3 and XH1. So overall weight definitely wins with a 16-80mm. The focal length out of the 16-55 is comparison to 24 by 82.5mm in 35mm format. Then the 16-80mm is 24 by 120mm in that 35mm equivalent. The max aperture on the 16-55 is that low light f2.8. Now this is one thing that turns off a lot of people about the 16-80mm at f4, but just remember this is a constant aperture all the way through, which is what I absolutely love for photography and videography, which we're going to speak about later. Filter thread is 77mm on the 16-55 and 72mm on that 16-80, which is exactly the same as the 10-24, which I love because these two lenses are my film lenses, so it's really good to have one filter that fits both of those lenses. The minimum focus on the 16-55 is 30 centimeters and 35 centimeters on the 16-80. Now the price point is about 1,049 euros for the 16-55, not on special, and the 849 euros on the 16-80mm. Now I know these prices do change quite a bit, but roughly it's about 200 euros difference whether both on special or not. But I have to admit the XF 16-80mm is great in a bundle with the XT3. Also, the more expensive XF 16-55mm does not have image stabilizer built in, but the 16-80mm not only has 6 stops of image stabilizer built in, it has a tripod awareness. That means when you put it on a tripod, it automatically detects it's on a tripod and turns that image stabilizer off. Now they are both weather resistant, which is one big upgrade from the 18-55mm. So there you have the direct comparison for the specs. A little bit heavier. It has got f2.8 constant in the 16-55, but that non-IS. 6 stops and also that tripod awareness inside of the 16-80mm, constant f4, but remember 200 euros difference. So let's get on to the sharpening of these two lenses. How good is it all through the range? Right, moving on to the juicy stuff. What everyone is here for, how good are these lenses when we chuck them on front of our cameras? Now that would change a lot depending on what camera we have, the XH1 or the XT3. The thing I love about the 16-80mm f4 is that 6 stops of image stabilizer. It puts the X-T3 back in the game as far as video and low light images. You can tell from the footage that I'm showing you right now, this is with the X-T3 and the 16-80mm. Now, if we jump over to the 16-55 on the X-T3, it's very shaky and pretty much unusable. Now, I didn't have whiskey last night. I'm not suffering from that whiskey handshake. This is with the X-T3 and 16-55. It just doesn't look good, and I don't want to spend time post-production putting image stabilizer on this because it takes too much time. So that's why I love the 16-80mm. Now, for everything I am showing you, there will be a link in the description below for a blog that I'm writing. You can go across there and download all the videos and all the photos that I'm about to show you for 100% free in RAW and JPEG, so you can edit them, put them into Premiere Pro and look at them yourself to help you decide what you need to buy it for your requirements. Now, right now I'm going to go through at 16mm, at 23mm, 35mm, 50mm and 80mm, all the way from F2.8, F4, 5.6, F8 and F11, all through both the lenses to get that. And you can go, as I said, in that link in the description and download all these images. But right now I'm going to show you the 16mm, 35mm and 55mm on the screen. Now, it is meant to be said that the 16-80mm does suffer from 16mm to 35mm being not as sharp. In the center, yes, but not in the corners. So that is one thing I want to go through right now and definitely have a look at with a 16-80mm. So if you are interested in both these lenses, I highly recommend jumping down, downloading those raw images to blow them up as big as you can, because I understand YouTube compression is absolutely terrible. But now I want to move on to close focusing and how good is the bokeh on these two lenses. So now turning our attention to close focusing, the 16-80mm, which is on the camera right now, can close focus at 35 centimeters. The 16-55 is 30 centimeters, so not a big difference in the two. But the big difference lies in the 55mm to 80mm range. So I can get a lot closer to the subject with the 16-80mm, even though it's 35 centimeters close focusing. Now I'm zooming out to 80mm. I shot both images on 5.6 and both images with the X-T3, focusing right on the pollen part here of the center of the flower. So check those images out right now and you can see how much closer I can get with the 16-80mm compared to the 16-55mm with close focusing. Now, although this doesn't affect me a lot within my photography, inside the video department, I really like to get in close focusing with the video just to tell that more intricate detail that I'm trying to film, that what I'm trying to give to the viewer's eye as part of the storytelling in the video aspect. So I really like the close focusing. Although these aren't kings in close focusing compared to, say, the 16mm 1.4, what I'm filming on, which is like 15 centimeters, but we can get that 80mm or that 55mm compared to the 16mm. So not too bad overall, but I wouldn't count on these as sort of a macro lens. But now let's move over there to get some bokeh and see how silky, buttery, creamy these are in the background. So now we want to look at the bokeh, however you say that, blurry background. There's two main differences I want to talk about right now. Obviously 2.8 compared to f4, but to counteract the f4, we've got 80mm compared to 55mm. So what I'm going to go through and do is shoot 35mm, 55mm to compare the two directly. This shooting at 2.8, this shooting at f4, obviously the max apertures on both of them. But to counteract that, we can shoot the 16-80mm at 80mm at f4 to get more separation from the foreground to background. So I highly recommend going through and downloading those images. So you're going to get all the raw images I shot from 16, 23, 35, close focusing images, and these bokeh blurry background images to see how good these two lenses are. So right now, 35mm, get that image, 55mm and get that image. I'm going to change over lenses, and here are those 35mm, 55mm and 80mm for the blurry background. So there we have it done and dusted, guys. The comparison review of 16-55 2.8 red badge versus the 16-80mm f4. Now, I want to get into the nitty gritty. Who are these lenses aimed for, and what lens should you buy for whatever your purpose of photography is? Now remember, this is 200 euros more expensive, whether it's retail price or on sale. Now for me personally, I'll be straight up honest with you, the 16-80mm has fitted right in my camera bag and I've absolutely loved it. And the reason behind that is, if I went traveling now, I have the versatility of a focal range, optical image stabilizer, and I can bring a basically plasticky lens like the Samyang 12mm to to shoot my night sky photography, low light video recording, and this can do everything during the day in between video and photography. That is why I absolutely love it. If you're like me, traveling all the time, this for me, hands down, is one of the best, if not the best Fujifilm lens on the market. But why would you buy this, and why do I still own it? This is a fantastic lens. If you're just after superior image quality, you cannot beat this. This is incredible. I would say one of Fujifilm's best lenses. I call this the bag of primes. 16, 35, 23mm. It is absolutely fantastic with image quality. When I went to Norway and done a Northern Lights photography workshop, I was shooting at 2.8 in low light with this. It was fantastic. I was blown away how good this lens was. And even now I'm considering, should I sell it and get like a 23mm F2? Probably not, because as I said, it is the bag of primes. But for video users out there, if you use stationary recording like I'm doing right now, that 2.8, that silky smooth background is absolutely perfect. But if you want that higher end quality out of it, you're gonna need a gimbal or something like that to walk around with and do that. That's why I like the run and gun out of the 16 to 80mm. So my overall assumption out of these two lenses, if image quality is basically the only thing you're after, superior image quality, money is no issue, and you do sort of stationary or no video, I cannot recommend this enough. It's a little bit heavier. Why would I recommend this? Because it is versatile as crap. It is so, so good. 200 euros cheaper, optical image stabilizer. It recognizes when you're on a tripod for photographers out there. So traveling, absolutely perfect. Weather sealed, it's just so good. That paired with a 10-24 or a Sanyang 12mm, travel featured down pat. But guys, this is where I want you to let me know in the comments below, what lens would you purchase? Do you own one already, and have you considered changing over or upgrading? Would you even call this an upgrade? Let me know in the comments below, because I think this is one of Fujifilm's great debates. For me, 16-80mm with Sanyang 12mm, basically I can spend that 200 euros that I've saved from this on the Sanyang. Got two lenses to travel with, is absolutely perfect. But as I said, let me know in the comments below. But that is me done for today, reviewing these two beautiful Fujifilm mid-range lenses. The great debate that Fuji's given us, two extremely powerful lenses. What would you choose? But if you need help editing your images in Lightroom, or you need some presets LUTs, make sure to head over to my website and purchase them. The link will be in the description below. Anything you do purchase helps me out immensely, and I appreciate it so, so much. But guys, that is me done for today, reviewing these two epic lenses. I'll see you guys on the next one.